I wondered if you could help me clean up my vibration about selling one of my businesses.
Well, we've talked a lot in the past about cleaning up vibration. And today we're putting a little different light on it as we are asking you to be more unconditional about it. And so let's go right to the uncondition of why you want to sell one of your businesses.
It's not as profitable as my other ones.
All right, so that's still a condition. We want the uncondition. In other words, we want the unconditional reason for it.
I want to work less.
All right, so that's still a condition that you would like to change.
Freedom.
Freedom. Now, that's really good because you're pointing toward less bondage. But freedom is really what you're reaching for, isn't it?
Yes.
So, can you take that word freedom, that idea of freedom, that concept of freedom, and can you flesh it out and get some momentum going about it? In other words, do you believe that in your vortex is the path to accomplish this very thing that you want to accomplish?
Absolutely.
And so does it make sense to you that what you're wanting to accomplish here is just the inspiration to get to the place? You see, we know that sometimes it seems like you're going to sit here and you're going to ask us a question and you want us to deliver to you the path. But what we want to guide you to is the path to the path. Oh, here's a good way of putting it. Where does your path of least resistance lead? It's a trick question, so be really careful here. In light of what we're talking about here, where does your path of least resistance lead? Does it lead to the selling of the business? It would seem so. But what it really leads to is alignment, which leads to everything else. So if you can just make up your mind that you're wanting to find the path to alignment or the path to positive emotion, that's your only job. That's as far as you can get right now. You're just reaching for that path to that alignment. Then everything else will follow from that. So let's take that word freedom and let's flesh it out and get some momentum going about it. What do you mean freedom?
To do more of what I want.
All right, so you heard her words, to do more of what I want. But what did she mean? To do less of what I don't want to do. The universe doesn't hear what you say. The universe hears what you mean. So you haven't accomplished that unconditioned yet, which is fine, we will, but you haven't accomplished it. So keep going for it. In other words, tell us again what freedom is, what freedom feels like, what freedom means. What is freedom? How does it feel? What's that state of freedom? Flesh it out for us.
Working in my garden, playing with my dogs, swimming, spending time with my family.
All right, so let's take some piece of that. So what feels free about swimming?
Oh, you just go in and out of the water and you cool yourself off and you're weightless and...
Yeah. Is there more? Do you swim out of rebellion to work? I'm going to swim.
I swim because it feels good.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So at first, you might sort of belligerently or rebelliously get into the water. So make us feel that. In other words, the free motion, the weightlessness, the less tension on your body, the less gravitational pull.
It washes away like negativity or something you may have, your skin. And
swimming just feels good, doesn't it?
Yes.
So now you have accomplished some movement in your vibration about that. What else? What were some of the other things that freedom meant to you? Working in your garden?
Gardening, flowers.
Gardening. So talk to us about that.
Oh, you work with the dirt and you make these beautiful things grow. And
all right, so when you're in the garden, are you passively just sitting there and looking at the flowers? What's actually happening when you're there?
I'm nurturing.
Nurturing, but are you doing anything?
Enjoying.
But is the enjoyment coming from something that you're doing?
Yes.
And is the temperature always perfect while you're doing this?
No.
And do you get dirty while you're doing
Very.
it? And are you lugging dirt around and flowers around
Yes.
and stuff around?
Moving grass around, moving flowers,
So
yes.
it is work. So why does that work feel playful? Why does that feel like freedom to you while your business feels like bondage? Why?
Because I can relax and be whoever I am when I'm gardening.
Because I'm making the decision.
Yes.
Because I chose the gardening.
Yes.
What if your business was gardening?
I've thought of that.
What if someone said to you, you have to water this acre of tomatoes today or you cannot go with your friends tonight? What'd you do today? I worked in the garden. That's not the way it would come across, is it? No. My dad made me water an acre of tomatoes before I could go. So it isn't the what you're doing, is it? It's the mindset that you have. It's the uncondition of it. So what is it about this business that makes you want to release it?
It's not as pleasurable as it used to be.
But what we want you to find in it, so what you're saying, the advertisement that you are posting for the world to see is come and buy my sucky business. Purchase from me the bondage that I wish to release myself from. No longer work in your garden or swim in your swimming pool. Be a slave to this business. I will sell it to you. That's the way you feel about it, and that's what you're posting out there. Mm-hmm. You'd be better off not to post anything than to post that. Here's the question that we have. Do you think that as you've been sifting through the contrast of that business, that you have put into this vibrational reality the happy release of it, the happy and profitable release of it? Do you think that's in your vortex?
Yes.
So you've already done the posting. You already put it in there. Now you want to find some way of lining up with that.
Yes.
Do you think that the better way is to toil in the business or to play in the garden? To toil in the business or to play in the garden? So what keeps you from just doing that? Why don't you just play in the garden?
I have for the past 2 weeks, and it feels really good. I had
But
someone
what would be a
work,
reason that you don't do more of that?
releasing the resistance to think I should be there instead of an employee.
You are putting yourself in bondage there.
Yes.
So, can you remember a time when your business was fresh? And do you remember when it was an idea that you were moving
Yes.
toward? Do you remember how good that felt?
Yes.
And can you tell us why it felt good? What was appealing about it?
The place, absolutely beautiful. The expectation of the opportunity and what I can do with it.
So, are you saying that the reality of the current condition is overshadowing that vibrational reality that you were once moving toward?
Yes.
Do you feel that it is possible, without actually releasing the business, to get back to that vibrational reality?
Yes.
That's the question of the day, because that's the only way that conditions will ever change. You have to find a way of finding the unconditioned in the condition that aligns you with the intention that is in your vortex before what you have can change. And the condition changing may mean it becoming more profitable. It may mean other people coming in to manage it and giving you the freedom to do something else. It may mean releasing it all together. It depends upon what's in your vortex. Are you sure that what's in your vortex is releasing the business, or is what's in your vortex just personally feeling more freedom? Could you have put the cart before the horse? Could you be coming to the conclusion that the only way to be free is to be absolutely free of that? You see what we're getting at?
Yes.
Because a lot of times you come to conclusions. You think that to feel this way, then this and this and this and this has to happen, when you have the ability to feel this way if none of that happens, if you just knew that. That was a big statement. You have the ability to feel good if nothing changes, because you have the ability to focus on something other than exactly what is. And when you do that, then everything changes in proportion to the vibrational change that you have found.
Yes.
So, do you really want to release this business?
Well, I thought I did.
We're not trying to talk you out of it, but are you wanting to change that condition, or are you wanting to feel different? That's really the question.
I want to feel different.
And do you need to change the condition in order to feel different? That's the big question. Does this have to happen just the way I've got it all carved out in order for me to feel better?
No.
It doesn't, does it? So what do you think you could accomplish in the next 5 minutes? Selling the business or feeling better?
Feeling better.
Ooh. Ooh. So what's the best plan of action? To hold off not feeling good till I sell it, till I sell it, till I sell it, till I sell it, till I sell it at a loss, or I sell it? What's the best plan of action? How fast do you want to feel better?
Immediately.
Then what's the best plan of action? To feel better or to sell the business?
Feel better.
And logically, what else can you do? Can you give yourself permission to feel better without the condition to justify the feeling better? Ooh. How dare I feel better before the condition adjusts itself? What am I, a crazy person? Feeling good with no good reason? Feeling good before the manifestation supports my feeling good? That surely must be madness. We say it's deliberate creation. It's creating vibrationally. It's utilizing the energy that creates worlds to assist you. It's getting yourself into the receptive mode. It's getting yourself to the place where you can get tuned in where the good idea can come. Don't you find that when you're swimming, ideas come to you?
Yes.
Don't you find that when you're gardening, that ideas come to you? And many of those ideas are ideas that don't include that business. That means they're good ideas.
Yes.
We're just saying, your work is to get into alignment, period. Your path is leading you to that, and everything else will take care of itself. We were visiting with a person one day, and he wanted to sell a house. They'd been wanting to sell it for a long time, and it wasn't moving. They'd outgrown it. Wasn't pleasing to them at all. And we said, why do you want to sell this house? And they said, because we've outgrown it. We have more children now. There's not room for all of us. It's not in the neighborhood that we want to live in. The vegetation doesn't look the way we want it to. We're done with this house. And so we presented to the world the advertisement for that house. Come and buy this house that's too small, this house that's surrounded by a garden that doesn't look good. Come and buy this place we no longer want. Come and get it. And so, of course, he understood our sarcasm. And then we said, do you remember what it was like moving into that house in the beginning? And he said, yes, when we found it, we were so excited about it. And we said, why? And he said, because it was what we were moving into. It was something that was more and better for us. There was a place for all of us at the time. And we said, and what did the landscaping look like at the time? And he said, there wasn't any. We planted everything that was there. Every weekend we would go buy another bush or another tree, and together we would plant it. And we said, and do you remember how that felt? And he said, we loved the place. It was so fun watching it become. And we said, now that's a different advertisement that you're putting out to the universe. Yes. Now you're saying, come and find this thing that is just right for you. And so it's an interesting thing. Our friend earlier said, I'm afraid about something. And what he meant in this situation is, I'm afraid if I make peace with my business, I'll get stuck with it. I'm afraid the universe will misunderstand. I'm afraid the universe will think I'm happy with it if I don't complain about it. And it seems like in order to distance myself from a condition that I don't want, that I have to say no to it and point out what's wrong with it. But the opposite of it is what you're really wanting to do, because what that condition has produced for you is something that is new, that is in the vortex. And you've got to find a way of lining up with who you now are and what you now want. This is a universe that's based upon attraction or inclusion. There's no exclusion in it. And we know you know that. So right now, in this moment, how do you include what you want in your vibration about a business that you want to leave behind? Isn't that a good question? How do I right now include in my vibration that will bring me what I do want, which I believe is a separation from what I don't want? And the answer is, you just got to look at everything on the subject of business or otherwise that causes you to feel good. Receptive mode is all you've got to accomplish. So we're doing a really strong sales job here. We want you to understand what your work is. Your work is not to improve the condition so that you can feel better. Your work is to feel better so that the condition will be improved. But that isn't exactly the way we want to say it either, because that's not really the way that it is. Because if the ulterior motive is to fix the condition, you're still doing it conditionally. So you got to do it because you want to feel good, period.